Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. And in today's video we have this Jeep Grand Cherokee L, and we're going to do the side chrome delete installation for this vehicle. So this is how the side panel looks before doing the installation, and this is how it looks after the installation. So we used the gloss black material in order to match the lower section of the side panels and also to black out the entire side panel. Link for the product will be provided below, but with that being said, let's start with the installation video. These are the tools you need for the installation. So before we start with the installation, we need to make sure we prep the side panel. So we're going to need two solutions in order to prep and clean and dry the entire thing. So we're going to need one, our Slip solution, which contains baby shampoo mixed with distilled water. And our second one is Tack Solution, which contains isopropyl alcohol mixed with distilled water. So first we're going to use our Slip solution, and we're just going to spray it onto a clean microfiber towel. And all we're doing is just making sure we remove any contaminants that each side panel may have. And then once we're done cleaning it, we're going to use our Tack solution and spray it onto our microfiber towel again. And what the Tack solution will do is just help remove any oils, wax, or any hard contaminants like coatings that the side panels may have. And then once you're done prepping, make sure that everything's dry. That way we can start with the installation. Okay, so once you finish prepping the entire side panel, now we can start with the installation. We're going to start with piece number one that covers the front door. So with this one, just place the film onto the panel and start by aligning this section of the film to the edge right here. So make sure you just align it to where you cover the chrome, right on the edge, right there. And then align the film using the bottom half of the chrome panel as a guide. So slowly just align it as you go. And then once you place the film, grab your squeegee and start tacking on the entire film. Make sure to help remove any air that's trapped underneath the film. And then once we finish tacking it down, we're going to use a heat gun. You can also use a hair dryer just to help tack down the edges. And also we're going to help the adhesive on the film activate faster. So go ahead and grab your heat device, use the lower setting, and just start applying heat throughout the entire film. And with this one, if you do have excess material in the bottom section and also on the top, you have two options. You can either trim it off, or the other option is tucking it in underneath the rubber gasket. If you do decide to tuck it in under the gasket, you would have to pull it down, at least for the bottom section. Pull it down, grab your squeegee, and you would tuck in the film slowly throughout the entire thing. And this is so you have coverage on the bottom, and also if you don't want to trim off the excess material. And then same for the top, you would have to open the door, lift the gasket, and just tuck it in. And once you finish tucking in the film, just go ahead and grab your heat gun or hair dryer and just apply heat one more time just to help seal the top and the bottom edges. That way the film doesn't lift over time. And then for the edge right here, you could trim out the excess material right from the edge. So just insert your blade and trim it off from the edge. Okay. And that's pretty much it for this part. And now once we tack this down, you repeat the same process from this one to the rear door. Start from here and work your way out. So like I mentioned, for the installation process for this one, you can repeat the same process as how we did it with the first one here. So for piece number two, just align it from one end. So align it from the edge. Use the bottom half as a guide to align the rest. And remember, if you have excess material on the bottom or on the top, you could just move the gasket just a little bit and tuck in the film underneath. So once you finish applying heat, that will help the adhesive activate faster. One thing to keep in mind, if you do want full coverage for the edges here, for the first install, we didn't cover the side panel. So that's one way of going about it when trimming off the excess material right on the edge. You will have some chrome exposed if you do it from there. But if you do want to cover this edge right here, the second option would just be, so make sure you just give yourself more than enough if you want full coverage on the edges, so here and on the other end too. So you have enough to cover both ends if needed. And once you cover everything, we always recommend applying a little bit of heat, because heat will help the film start tacking down to the edge. And then we'll just let the film cool down just a little bit, and then create with your finger, create a small outline. That way you know exactly where you will need to trim off the excess material. So right here is where we will need to insert the blade. So once you have your outline, grab your blade, just grab the tip of the blade. You don't need too much. And then from the edge, you will trim slowly until you reach the top. And then you would just peel carefully. And now you have full coverage, as you can see right here. Okay, so now we're moving on to piece number 3, which covers this entire quarter window section up to here. So with this one, instead of starting on the front end, we're going to need to start on the curved section here. That way everything lays down and aligns perfectly to the side panel. So just so the film doesn't get in your way, just place it to the chrome. And we're going to start with the curved edge here. So what you're going to need to do is just follow the curved design. So place it here and make sure you're covering the chrome on the bottom, and you have material to cover the chrome on top. And then if you want to cover this edge here of the chrome, you'll need a little bit of extra material like this. That way it covers the inside here. So we'll just leave it like this for now. And now that we have everything placed here in the line, you're just going to slowly work your way to the other end, following the lower section as a guide to align the rest of the film. So just make sure you give yourself material to cover both ends. So once you finish placing the entire film onto the side panel, just go ahead and grab your squeegee, start tacking everything down. Make sure to take your time, especially in the curved area here. So on the curved area, just make sure when you grab your squeegee, squeegee side to side, and make sure to remove all of the bubbles underneath the film. The reason why we need your squeegee side to side is that way we don't accidentally crease the film in case we do have any fingers here. And if you do have any fingers, in order to soften the fingers down or to shrink the fingers down, you can use a heat gun or hair dryer to help the fingers shrink, and then you'll slowly tack it down. So if you were to have fingers, grab a heat gun, low setting, and just apply heat where the fingers will be located. Make sure you're spreading the heat evenly, and then you would just grab your squeegee and you would squeegee side to side. Like for example here with this one, we're going to need to lift the film just a little bit carefully. That way we're able to tack down and remove the fingers. So once you finish tacking down everything, you will grab your heat gun, apply heat throughout the entire panel. That way we help the film start tacking down to the chrome. And also we help the film stay tucked in underneath in case you did tuck in here or on the top. And then for the edge, if you are planning to cover the chrome here, you would do the same steps. Just make sure you give yourself enough material to cover the chrome, and then create your outline with your finger. But before you trim, apply heat. That way we help the film tack down to the curve here. Help it tuck in, create an outline. That way you know exactly where you need to insert your blade. You only need just a little bit of your blade out. Insert your blade and carefully trim off the excess material. And that's pretty much it. On the edges here, you would just do the same thing, apply heat and then trim off the excess material. And then same for this side here. If you want to cover the chrome here, just apply heat. That way we help the film start molding to the design of the chrome here. But if you don't want to cover it, you would just trim it off here. So 2 options. So when it comes to piece number 4, with this one, just make sure you place the film onto the chrome panel. And you can start from this end or the other end, it doesn't even matter, just wherever you start. If you do want to cover the chrome on the inside, Give yourself a little bit of excess material, that way you cover the chrome on the inside. This amount of film should be fine to cover the inside of the chrome. And now you would just use the lower half of the panel as a guide to align the rest of the film. And you can always lift the film to readjust it as you go. So once you finish placing the film, grab your squeegee, do the same steps as how we did it with all the other pieces. Just start tacking it down, remove all of the air bubbles, and then we'll apply heat. That will help tack down the entire film. For this one, we will need to trim off the excess material on the top section here. Since we aligned it on the bottom, there will be excess material on the top. Once you finish tacking down everything and applying heat, now we're just going to create a small outline with our finger. That way we know exactly where we will need to trim off the excess material. So once you create that outline, just carefully grab your blade. You only need just the tip of the blade. Insert it right in the small gap. And just carefully make your way to the other end as you're going. Take your time. If you need to pause, you can. Just make sure, if you do pause, to go back exactly where you left off. And you're just slowly going to remove and peel off the excess material like that. So just take your time going all around on the top section until you reach it here. Okay, so for piece number 5, this piece covers this entire section for the top panel here. For this one, place the film here on the chrome panel. And something to keep in mind, we did make this one a little bit bigger, that way you have more coverage all around the chrome panel. So you can start from this end or the other end over there. It doesn't really matter. Just keep in mind, wherever you start, you will have excess material on the other side. So just have it like this. You'll have this excess material here. That's perfectly fine. Follow the lower section as a guide to align the rest of the film. You can also use the top in case you want to. Completely up to you. But if you do want to follow the top, then you just have to lift it carefully and align it from the top end instead. So you can do either method, either the top or the bottom. Doesn't really matter. Just keep in mind, wherever you do align it, the other side will have excess material. So just lift it carefully. Align it on top. Make sure the chrome's being covered. And you'll just follow through until you reach to the other end. So once you finish placing the film, grab your squeegee, start tacking down everything. Make sure to remove all of the air bubbles underneath the film. And before we trim off any excess material, we're just going to apply heat. That way we help the film start tacking down to the chrome panel here. And before you trim off the extra material, make sure that everything is completely covered. And if you do need to readjust it, you can always lift the film carefully and just readjust the film. So always double check and see before you trim the excess material. So if you did align it from the top end, you should have excess material on the bottom. So with that, there is a small gap in between the panel here. When you find that gap, enter your blade and then just carefully, slowly trim off the excess material. You don't need to apply too much pressure when you're trimming off the excess material. Just take your time slowly, like how we did it with the other side panels. And then once you finish trimming off the excess material, apply heat. That way we seal the edges and we should be good. And once you finish with the entire installation, the last thing to do is to post heat the entire film. So once you finish with the entire installation for the side chrome bleed, the last thing to do is to post heat everything. So you're going to need a heat gun or a hair dryer. You could use the lowest setting on your device. Just make sure when you're applying heat, you apply it evenly throughout the entire side panel. That way we help the adhesive on the film activate faster. And make sure not to focus on one area for too long. That way we don't accidentally burn the film. So that concludes the installation video for the side chrome delete installation for the Jeep Grand Cherokee L. We hope that the video helped you guys out with the installation. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That way you don't miss any of our upcoming installation videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.